Welcome to Legal Awareness web series. We have a very special interview today. The Vice Chancellor would be interviewing his student. Now, generally, it should look very strange because normally Vice Chancellors are interviewed by their students and others. But मेरा यकीन ये है कि कभी कभी ऐसे हालात होते हैं कि गुरु जो है वो गुड़ रह जाता है और चेला शक्कर बन जाता है। और मैं समझता हूं कि द ग्रेटेस्ट सक्सेस फॉर एनी टीचर is that his student surpasses him in terms of his achievements and in terms of his career. तो कुछ छोटा मोटा लीगल अवेयरनेस का काम मैं करता हूं और फिर मेरे स्टूडेंट डीजीवी ऋत्विक नालसर के और इनके साथ 1 2 3 नहीं, अब 100 वॉलंटियर्स हैं जो हमारे स्टूडेंट्स हैं, जो कोविड की ये महामारी देश में आई हुई है, चारों तरफ इसमें नाउम्मीदी, फ्रस्ट्रेशन और एक पर्सनल स्टोरी हर एक की है कि उसका कोई अपना दुनिया से चला गया। आज ही मेरे एक दोस्त ने लिखा कि 10 दिन के डिफरेंस से उसके दोनों पेरेंट्स की बिहार में डेथ हो गई। तो हमारे कुछ काम का भी बड़ा एप्रिसिएशन लोगों ने किया। तो जैसे वो अमिताभ बच्चन और गोविंदा की फिल्म थी, बड़े मियाँ बड़े मियाँ, बड़े मियाँ माशा अल्लाह, छोटे मियाँ सुभान अल्लाह। तो ऋत्विक जो मेरे स्टूडेंट हैं ये छोटे मियाँ हैं और ये ऐसा जबरदस्त काम कर रहे हैं कि मैं इनको सलाम कर रहा हूँ। एंड आई एम सो प्राउड ऑफ हिम and so proud of all the volunteers who have come out of their classrooms. Of course, we are not in the university. They are working from homes, and yet they are finding time to help people who need oxygen, who need beds, and it is not a small work. You know, the easiest job, as I say, for religious people is to pray. If you want to go to a temple and pray, it will take hardly a few minutes. If you want to pray 5 times a day and you are a Muslim, it may take 25 minutes. The real work is not prayer of God. The real work is service to the humanity. Because God has created us to serve fellow human beings. So I'm so proud of you, Ritwik, that you have created one-stop solution. Now you have more than 17,000 views on Instagram. You have about 215,000 or so impressions, 11,700 accounts. And what a great work it is that when people are running from pillar to post, you are able to give them a ready-made solution that this is the hospital where you can go, where a bed is available, and this is where the oxygen is available. I think that doing law and making money is not the only job of any lawyer. Nalsar as a university never said that we want to produce merely competent professional lawyers. I have repeatedly said, I don't want to produce amoral technicians of law. I want sensitive, socially relevant lawyers who can feel the pain of the larger society and pain of the fellow human beings. And it gives me immense satisfaction that such a large number of my students are able to feel the pain of fellow human beings and have really doing a remarkable work. So today we want to know what you are doing. What are your future plans? My first question to you, Ritwik, is what is the backstory? How the whole idea came in? Who motivated you? What was your motivation?
Yes, sir. Firstly, thank you for all the kind words. I hope you're doing well as well. We initially had actually two teams working on this issue, right? So one, we wanted to build a Google Sheet database like a lot of other organizations were doing across of resources across the country, and the other team was to create a website by the Student Bar Council and the academic committee for a one-stop solution for anyone who wants to access university resources, what we offer as our university, and to build a communications bridge between student body and the students, Student Bar Council. Slowly, these two teams, which started out separately, had come together to form one website. Basically, what this website would do is not only focus on university resources, but we would also get together a lot of resources known as static resources, which is a repository of all government and non-official helplines and other websites which provided people with information. So this was named the crowdsourced resource, which has almost 50 to 60 links across states and most of the union territories in India right now. And it also includes separate heads for Twitter search bots. It also includes Remedisphere, all of these resources, official resources. Also, we have this on our website. At the same time, we also started receiving personal requests from people who needed help in either finding a bed or oxygen or medicine. So we had tried our best to help these patients out, but unfortunately, one of such cases we lost that patient that night. Uh, and this Yes. And this pushed us to think that if we had the volunteers and the resources to help build a real time database of beds, oxygens, and other medicines, we could actually save lives and help a lot more people out. So we reached out to our friend at Jindal Global Law School. Her name is Meghna Kudligi, who had worked on the ground in search of leads of beds and oxygens, as well as Ryan Chandra from the University of Hyderabad, who had a team working on other leads in Hyderabad, such as that of plasma and other resources. And together we launched an Instagram page called COVID-19.nalsar, where we try to focus on live leads of beds, oxygens, medicines, and so on. So our current team consists of 8 people, sir. Ashish K. James, Bhavisha, and Nikhil Charani, Ankita Gupta, and myself from Nalsar. And we also have external help from JGLS, Meghna, and Nayan from UOH, as well as Nishna Viranki from CBIT.
Very good. Very good. So, Ritvik, I do recall that last year when suddenly national lockdown was announced, and I had to order closure of the university, and we really didn't know how will we be able to resume classes in the online mode. You and your team, Ashish, James, helped the university, and the kind of forum you created for last current academic session. In fact, we first managed our classes in April for the 2019-2020 session, and then for 2020-21 session. That was also of great help, and I am happy to inform my viewers that I explained the work done by Ritvik and his team to the Executive Council and the General Council of the university. And the General Council of the university, headed by the Chief Justice, has placed on record its deepest appreciation of the work done by Ritvik and his team. My second question to you is that if official data has any sanctity, the ground reality and the reports coming from cremation grounds and the burial grounds tell an entirely different story. But if we go by the numbers given to us by the government, it seems that at least in metros, the situation is looking optimistic. The oxygen demand is going down. There are now more beds available in the hospitals. So, what your team is now concentrating, what is your future plan on this issue now?
Yes, sir. So essentially, when we first started out our plan, we focused on Hyderabad because because we wanted to start in one place, get experience here, and then move on to other places. So, and then we reached out to other NLUs. We reached out to NLS in Bangalore. We reached out to NLIU in Bhopal, who concentrated on central India. And we also have already spoken to IDIA from West Bengal, and we are currently starting a team there. So, but what we realized is that, as you correctly pointed out, in the metro cities, the situation was becoming more handleable, right? The supply was catching up to the demand at some level. Although the problem we faced personally with the official database of beds, for example, in Telangana, we have one website which gives us how many beds are available in which district. But one of the problems which we faced was that sometimes in the government's own website, the phone numbers of that hospital would not be there. And 10 a.m. was almost no value to us by, like, for example, 4 p.m. on that day. And also, it was also the case that outside, so in Hyderabad, most of the hospitals had updated the information every day. But when we checked, for example, in the first week of May, some of the hospitals in other districts of Telangana had not updated their beds availability from 4 to 5 days ago. So, and as a part of this, we also had a lot of requests coming in from other areas in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. We had requests coming up from Adilabad, Nizamabad, Mehboob Nagar, as well as Vijayawada, Visakhapatnam. So what a lot of people were concentrating on metro cities, and as a result, even though the disease was spreading through tier 2, tier 3 cities and towns as well, a lot of people didn't know where to go for help. Because I can recount one experience where we had a patient in Khammam district of Telangana, and we tried to arrange oxygen for him at 1 a.m. in the night, and the state helpline number was invalid. We could not get through the state helpline number for that particular district. So people did not know where to go for help. And it was then we realized that Hyderabad, okay, we are working on it. There are some other volunteers working on it. But in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities is where we need to focus on. So what we decided to do after this was that our University of Hyderabad team, headed by Nayan, has formed another 30 volunteers from all over Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, and their sole focus is to get leads from tier 2, tier 3 and towns of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. So that while we concentrate on Hyderabad, because Hyderabad also has needs, but so do the other regions. So we have sort of started getting leads, and our problem with starting with these areas is also that we are one of the first people to be there, so we don't have anywhere to refer to. We will have to start building our database from the ground up.
Correct.
So this is one of the challenges which we face, sir. But I think we've been able to help a lot of people from Guntur, Rajahmundry, Nellore, Nizamabad, Warangal. We've been able to help these people as to the best of our abilities.
Very good. Excellent. That's why, I have so much of trust in the student community, unlike seniors like us, who later in their years become selfish. Students remain ideal, and students do believe that they have to do selfless social service. Ideally, we should be able to give some credits to them. You would recall that few years back I had proposed that for social service we should be able to give as many as 3 credits, but we were not able to have a detailed scheme about it. But I promise you that in next few months we would certainly be able to come up and devise a scheme. I have seen a similar experiment in United States of America, where students will go to homes, will help people in the construction, in the larger social community. And for the community service, there are some marks given to them, some credits given to them. So NALSA would certainly do that. Now, another issue, Ritvik, right now, with which all of us are really grappling with, is the issue of mental health. with my own close friends gone, my colleagues gone, people whom I knew for decades have passed away, I feel totally depressed from within. I really don't know what can be done to improve people's health and restore sanity. Is this also an issue with which you are dealing?
Yes, sir. So one of the issues which we noticed is that even before the huge spike of deaths which came up in the second wave, even in the first wave, during the lockdown, a lot of people, and this has been said by therapists and psychiatrists as well, that being in their homes has had a huge effect on people's mental health because you could not go out, you could not socialize with people. There was a feeling that a lot of people were closed off in that sense. I think Nalsar is one of the very few universities in India to provide free therapists for its students. And I think this is a method which every university should follow. Because what has happened is, sir, even in our university, as part of the academic committee, I can say with full confidence that a lot of our students have faced a lot of issues because of this lockdown induced being at home, as well as academics carrying on, and you have to be at home as well. These have sort of created that perfect mixture for having mental health issues. So what we do, sir, is that one, we currently do not provide direct mental health services to the people, but what we have done is we have collated a list of resources of people giving out mental health help out to the public. Sometimes it's for free, sir. We have also have resources of people who are doing it for free as well as paid. Sometimes it can take the form of a phone call. Sometimes it's a website. Sometimes it's a toll-free number. So we have collated a list of all of this and we have put it both on our website as well as our Instagram page, so that people, anybody who is facing mental health issues right now, it doesn't matter if it's small or big, it's always a good idea to reach out to a therapist and have a chat with them, sir. Like, I honestly believe that therapy is something which has to be an integral part of someone's life. And the lockdown has exacerbated that situation and has led to a lot of people facing these issues. So we have some resources on our Instagram page. I strongly suggest everyone to go through that. We will be adding new resources over the coming 2 to 3 days as well for mental health specifically. So I would suggest that people go to the page, reach out for help, and it will be mental health is as important as physical health
Correct.
in this time.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
So, Ritvik, you are also raising funds, helping poor people to pay their medical bills. So, with such an efficient, dedicated, committed team of volunteers available to you, do you do some verification process? What role your volunteers play in the verification? How do you do it?
Yes, sir. So we have actually experimented on a lot of systems before coming to the system we have right now. So right now, what we do is that we have three teams. So one team focuses on Hyderabad, one team focuses on Bengaluru, and the other team focuses on Rajasthan. So what every morning what happens is that we have a Google sheet where we have a list of all hospitals, all oxygen providers, all medicine providers listed, and each volunteer gets about 10 of these resources. So every volunteer has to wake up in the morning and in a slot between 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. they will make one phone call each to one of these people, and they verify whether beds are available or oxygen is available or which medicines are available. And then they will put it in a Google sheet. They will mark it as verified. They'll put the time and the date. And then the Instagram team is a separate team. The Instagram team will look at this information, put it in a template which we have. So these templates are made for easier access. Whereas, for example, if you look at our Instagram page, we have a lot of different colors. For example, blue color is for a bed, black color is for oxygen. So when you're going through our page, you'll have a better idea of which post to look for, right? So this is, and the same volunteers, or because we're getting more volunteers now. So sir, our volunteers are working so hard that it's becoming very difficult for them, because we've seen people pass away on duty. People were helping out. Sometimes we are trying to find a bed for someone, and unfortunately they pass away in the meantime. Sometimes we find a bed for someone and they pass away on that very bed. So it's been emotionally exhausting for a lot of our volunteers. So what
Really?
we're doing is we're getting, yes, sir. So what we're doing is we're getting more volunteers in so that we can work on shifts. So what we're doing is evening verification. It used to be done by the same team as the morning one, but we are working to bring in more volunteers so that the evening verification, which happens between 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. of the same resources, happens by a different group of volunteers, and these volunteers will again follow the same process I mentioned earlier, and our social media teams put it up. As well as we've recently launched our Twitter profile as well, sir, where the handle tweets out all of our available resources with hashtags, so that when people want beds, they can just type hashtag bed, hashtag Hyderabad, and they will find what they're looking for. But our resource will be one of what they're looking for, right? So this is what our volunteers have been doing. This is our verification. So we call them up, and then we verify the leads, and we put it on Google Sheet and release it on our Instagram and Twitter.
I can really
And yes,
vouch
sir.
for
One
the
more.
integrity of your team, and therefore I would request viewers to generously donate to this cause. Here are people who are dedicated to this cause, who are doing it for free, who are not associated with any political party, who do not have any selfish interest. And I can understand what does it mean when you are trying to find a bed for somebody and that person is gone. I tried to find a bed for someone in Lucknow and I failed, and the person passed away. I am still, feeling the guilt of losing that patient. So, Ritvik, you must be getting a lot of SOS calls. So,
Yes.
how do you get them and how do you address them?
Yes, sir. So initially, we were getting SOS calls through people we already knew. For example, through our friends or our family. But once we launched our Instagram page, we had people from all over the country approaching us for help, and we try our best to help them. If we get a request from one of the regions, which we directly have a team for, that is Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Bengaluru, and Rajasthan, we forward it to our Nalsar team. And they take the request and they try finding leads with the contacts which they have. This includes both calling up our emergency contacts. We have some contacts set aside for emergency purposes. We call them up, and at the same time, we also check our database of information which we already have, and we send it across to whoever requests it. But what we also noticed is that we keep getting requests from regions which we don't cover. For example, NCR, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh. These are places where we don't have a team directly, but we still get requests. So what we have done for this purpose is that excuse me, we have associate teams from IDIA West Bengal. We have associate teams from NLS, NLIU, as well as University of Hyderabad, St. Francis, another college in Hyderabad. And what these people do is that they look for leads. For example, NUJS and IDIA look for leads in Kolkata and West Bengal. And as I mentioned before, NLIU focuses on central India, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, and NCR. So what we do is we have a coordination group where we send out this SOS call and they get back to us to the best of their ability with this information. This helps us because not all the colleges individually have the sufficient reach. So when we come together, we can cover a lot of parts in India. And SOS calls are one of the toughest aspects of the job because we get a lot of requests, which is, and we search for ventilator beds or oxygen cylinders. Time is of essence. So, as I mentioned before, we lost people because we just couldn't have enough time. And because of this, we also thought, why not cut short the effort which it takes to contact us? And for this, we also launched a WhatsApp helpline, wherein there is a number where you can just text the number, and we will get back to you as soon as we can and try our best to help you out. And the link for this number is available on the website, sir.
How fast you revert back to people?
Sir, I am on my phone.
As soon as you can revert back.
Yes, sir. So I am on my phone almost as long as I'm awake. I have it on my it's my WhatsApp actually. Approximately 10 to 15 minutes we get back to you. Like we have an automated message which already goes out, which says if this is an emergency, call emergency services. We are not an emergency helpline. If the patient is very, very critical, then you should directly contact emergency helplines.
Very good. Very good. Sensible. We are coming to the end of this interview. Ritik, my last question is that while we appreciate the remarkable work you and your team is doing, what are your future plans? How do you want to take it forward now?
Yes, sir. So because we've been doing this for about, I think, 20, 21, 3 weeks approximately.
More than three
And
weeks
one of,
now. More than
yes,
three
sir, more than,
weeks.
yes, sir.
You
So
started
one of the main,
as soon as the second wave of COVID started.
yeah, yes, sir, yes, sir. One of the main things which we had found was that a lot of people across the country are in severe economic crisis due to the lockdown and the subsequent loss of livelihood. And things are only getting worse if they're infected with COVID-19 as well. We have had many requests come in to help people financially, as these people are not afford to pay the hospital bills which are being racked up. So we already tried to help in one case, sir. The patient was a social activist and a journalist in Hyderabad. His name is Kanji Srinivasa Rao, and we've been able to raise 34,500 rupees for him. And this was amount which we have raised as a fundraiser has been transferred to the family. But we want to do more. So we are launching a fundraiser, sir. What we essentially want to focus on is that there are organizations at the ground level. For example, we have an organization in Vijayawada which delivers food and it gives ration kits to migrant laborers. So there are organizations which we can support and for it to have a bigger reach for people. And we are also looking at trying to cover partially cover the hospital bills of people who cannot afford to pay their hospital bills. Of course, we'll have a plan as to what criteria one should meet to avail this financial support, but we definitely want to reach out to other regions. For example, in Hyderabad, again, as I explained before, Hyderabad, there are a lot of organizations working, but tier 2 and tier 3 cities, there are not. So I believe that the pandemic has escaped the confines of these metro cities and is spreading rapidly through other regions. And this fundraiser is another attempt of us trying to focus on the other regions, and we want to help as many people as possible. And to ensure full transparency and accountability, we have also invited NALSA's board of auditors, the student board of auditors, to audit our finances to ensure maximum accountability to the people who contributed. So I kindly request those who can contribute how much ever they can. No amount is too small to contribute to this cause. And in addition to this, we are also trying to expand to as many regions as we can handle by collaborating with other institutions or organizations. We are not in this space for want of credit for what we are doing. That is not our goal. We want to reach as many people as possible. And for this, we have had multiple requests. You see, sir, there's a lot of apps which are providing information where you can search for your city and you can get your information. All of these apps require raw data to be collected by ground level workers. So what we have done is, sir, as we do ground level verification, some of these apps have approached us and they've asked us if they could have access to our raw data, and we've been more than happy to give access to them. So there are 2 to 3 apps which are being built in India right now, which are using some of our data which we've collected to improve their resources real time. And also, sir, one of the other things which we've noticed in the past 2 to 3 days actually is that in Hyderabad and other cities, the bed availability is becoming easier to find. For example, wherever we used to find one ventilator bed, we're able to find 4 to 5 ventilator beds at the moment. So, but one place where we seriously thought that things are going wrong is blood donation, not plasma, sir. Blood donation. What has
Plasma,
happened
in
is
many
that,
cases, no more there as an option because now the
yes, sir.
government has revised their guidelines.
Yes, sir. So what has happened is that because people need blood, it's not for plasma, but people need blood. What has happened is that because of the vaccination, as well as other people who have got infected with COVID, the number of people who've been donating blood has come down a lot. So what we are also doing is we're still in talks. It's still in very early stages, but we also want to focus on blood availability. not plasma, but blood availability.
Right.
So that if anyone wants blood, they can approach us. We can have some donors available, and we can help them out. And we'll be rolling this feature out in, I think, 1.5 week. We should have a logistical issue sorted, and we can bring this out to people, sir.
Very good. Thank you, Ritvik. National law universities are said to be elitist institutions. This is said to be their, major criticism. I think that the kind of work you are doing, and I'm so happy as president of the Consortium of National Law Universities, that you have students from NLS, students from NLIU, students from other national law universities also joining you in this big cause and social cause. And we are now really proving our former Prime Minister right. Prime Minister Manmohan Singh had said, in a sea of mediocrity, we have few islands of excellence called national law universities. So we are not just like IITs and IIMs. We are an institution of excellence, but we are so conscious of our social responsibilities, and our students are not only extremely competent professionals, they are extremely sensitive to the problems which our society is facing. Your initiative is indeed furthering the call of the Honorable Prime Minister that we have to be Atmanirbhar. And I'm so glad to tell my viewers that it's not only my students, even the Chief Justice herself, her ladyship Hima Kohli, is leading this battle. Number of very bold and courageous orders which had come from the High Court of Telangana had helped many people. She was supposed to be there in Nalsar to inaugurate our moot court. On a holiday, she had to hold an emergency sitting of the court just because some ambulances from other states were not permitted in the state of Telangana unless you had a prior reservation with their hospitals. I think from students to the head of the family, the entire Nalsar community right now is doing what is expected of them. And I'm sure that these efforts would make at least the life of some people easier. We can't do much because we are a small institution, but I would urge each one of you who is watching this video that this is a very innovative, very creative, and very appreciable initiative of my students, and they now have students of other institutions. I would like to appreciate the students of University of Hyderabad and the University of Jindal Law School, that they have also joined us in this laudable cause. Thank you, Ritvik. My best wishes are with you. The university administration is entirely and solidly behind you. You can experiment, take new initiatives. My promise to you from day one is that every justifiable demand of the student would be accepted. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
If you like Legal Awareness web series, I request you to kindly subscribe to our channel, kindly widely share this video so that many more people know about this initiative of our students, and if necessary, take help of this website and the WhatsApp group. Kindly also like this video. Thank you so much.